I have a cold, and so if I start coughing, I'm going to ask Mary to finish reading the paper. But I'm going to, the paper's going to be about 50 minutes, and then we'll divide up into small groups for discussion of your experiences and ideas that I hope will be stimulated by my thoughts about ethics in the training process. Throughout the paper, I'll be using student in referring to supervisees and candidates, except sometimes when relevant, I'll use the term candidate. I thought it just was easier to listen to if I don't say supervisee over and over. My interest in the topic originates from having had a difficult experience being supervised over 45 years ago. Let me know if you can't hear me. Would you, like, you could raise your hand, right? Over 45 years ago, in the Masters in Social Work program I was in at the University of California in Berkeley. The MSW program in the School of Social Work at UC is a 2-year program that includes 2 fieldwork placements. The first year we were in the placement 2 days a week, and the second year in a different placement 3 days a week. I was 22 years old. I didn't know what I wanted to do throughout my college years and changed my major every year, until finally in the 5th year of my undergraduate work, a counselor said I could graduate that year if I changed my major to social work, since that program would take the variety of courses I had taken throughout my 4 years of major changing. So I graduated with a BA in social work, continued working as a secretary's assistant through the summer, having a terrible time with the main part of my job, which was proofreading. I decided to apply to graduate school in social work because I didn't know what else to do. I was accepted, and my first year fieldwork placement was in the social welfare department in San Francisco, making home visits to families receiving welfare checks. One of my first home visits was to an African American woman who was described in the huge file about her as having 3 children from 3 casual relationships. Soon after I arrived, my client asked if I thought she was abnormal. I don't recall what I said. I only remember not having any idea what to say, and returned to the agency befuddled and anxious about what this work was all about. My supervisor didn't know what to do with my anxiety and befuddlement. She wasn't able to talk with me about what she obviously felt were problems. She just gave me a B in the fieldwork placement, a grade that was considered low for graduate school. Was humiliating and frightening because I didn't understand what the problem was until many years later. I was lucky in the second year placement where I had a supervisor that had confidence in me, whom I could admire and from whom I was able to learn a great deal, including awakening my desire to do this work, which lives on as a love for me. My first year experience was not as bad as many about which I've heard and read. I was intimidated, felt inferior, and like there was no point in going on in this field, but I was not taken advantage of, nor was I abused in any way. I think in retrospect my supervisor felt inadequate, so that some of my feelings of inadequacy were enhanced by her unconscious projection of her feelings onto me, or that she acted toward me in such a way that I unconsciously took on her feelings of inadequacy along with my own. This process happens on training committees, as Patrick Casement notes in his paper, The Emperor's Clothes, Some Serious Problems in Psychoanalytic Training. Supervision and training can easily stir feelings of inadequacy in supervisors and trainers because of the mystery of the process of psychotherapy and analysis. I use the term analysis, but consider that all I'm saying is also applicable to psychotherapy as well. It's then easy to blame the student or to more easily see the fallibilities of the student rather than hold the uncertainty and or the chaos that is forever present in our work, and which is often even more apparent because we're supervising cases when we don't know or see the patient ourselves. Because of this, I'm using the idea of an ethical attitude to apply to our work as supervisors, teachers, and evaluators on training committees. As some of you already know who have had a chance to read my paper, The Ethical Attitude in the Analytic Relationship, I've defined an ethical attitude thus. An ethical attitude encompasses the formal code